Hey, Black people in cryptocurrency. As promised, they have an 11 o'clock live stream this morning. I'm going to do a little adjustment with the glare, with the lighting. 1 second. Let's take it down like just a little bit. We have a live stream this morning with Whitney Griffith. She's co-founder of Seamless Money, which is money transfer services targeting some of the issues and problems on the Caribbean. So we're going to get started as soon as I start sharing these streams to the groups that needs to see it. She is a bit pressed for time, so this won't be a long live stream, but it's definitely topical. We have a lot of issues, and I see you, Whitney. I'm going to invite you in a second. We have a lot of issues happening in Trinidad and Tobago. She can give us some specific insight and probably some scenarios as to why her blockchain venture is a solution provider in this modern context of what's happening in Trinidad and Tobago. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the live stream to Black people in cryptocurrency, the group, so that the group members can see the live stream, and then we'll get started. Let's see. Let's share. Hey, Carlos, how you doing? 1 second. Can't see beyond my phone. Let's share it. I don't know. Facebook has been running slow since, I guess, there's some situations that were happening yesterday with a kind of I don't know if it was a denial of service attack or what it was, but it started lagging a lot since then. I'm still experiencing a little bit of that today. I'm clicking group, and it takes a minute. 1 second. So I'm going to say today's live stream. Seamless Money is the name of the venture. I'm going to give the URL later, but it's actually, for those of you tuned in now, it's seamless.money is the URL. And we'll share. So normally I share to the Black people in cryptocurrency group because this is the genesis of how these live streams began because of that group and trying to bring people an awareness specifically of Africa, the African diaspora, and the venture producers in this new, it's a new internet. I mean, I think most people are still ignorant across the board in the United States of what is happening and why blockchain and cryptocurrencies are different, that we have an entirely different internet network of computers that deal with value transactions, and it cannot work on the existing internet platform because, you know, if you share this video, there's still a copy that I have. You share a picture of yourself, there's still a copy that you have. You can send it to 100 people. That does not work for money, and it certainly doesn't work for votes. You know, it's a very interesting dynamic that West Virginia became the only state in the United States in these midterms elections that implemented blockchain voting. So, you know, the cheese has moved and the tide has changed. So if you were not aware of the internet boom that occurred with the web, then you need to make yourself aware of what's happening in terms of finance, in terms of voting, in terms of other transfers of value and ventures popping up, and particular interest of people of color, even on the African continent, where they have more blockchain and cryptocurrency based conferences, and they may have, you know, 99% of African developers presenting, and the ones that are walking away with the takeaway money being invested are white companies. So you need to be aware that this racism, this whiteout, so to speak, is infecting, you know, Caribbean, African American, and African proper venture owners. So any of you who are just new to blockchain, you need to start spreading the word that there are so many people out here like Whitney, who we're going to talk to today, like the previous guests that we've had, Jamari, Sarita, Escobong, it's a whole bunch of people, and it's international, that are having difficulty getting funding, and quite frankly, sometimes get their business ideas knocked off by white ventures later who just copy it and then actually get the funding. So as much as you can spread the word that there are innovators and skilled people out there, then the right people who actually started the solutions can get the funding that they need to bring it to the next level. So without further ado, I'm going to start clicking this and invite Whitney to the call. So it takes a few seconds to begin working. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Perfect. We tried this out earlier today. It was a slight bit of a delay, so we're praying that everything works out well. So Whitney Griffith of Seamless Money, co-founder
Yes.
of Seamless Money. Give us an idea before we get into the specifics of your company. Give us a short bio on yourself and how you, before you even decided to have your own venture, what was your experience with first discovering Bitcoin or blockchain like?
Cool. Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be on this live call today. My name is Whitney Griffith. I'm a senior computer science student at Howard University. I was born and raised in Trinidad and Tobago, and the first time I came to the US was August 2015, just for school. A bit of my background, I actually came into Howard as a pre-med major and then switched sophomore year to computer science. So I spent that whole year like literally just upscaling in terms of the tech space. I was fortunate enough to land an internship that same summer at Microsoft, and that led me to San Francisco. Just entering into the San Francisco ecosystem, the startup ecosystem, my mind was blown. I got exposed to like a bunch of like different things that I never even knew existed in terms of like what can be achieved once you use technology for like different impact purposes on like real world problems. From there, I got even deeper into tech. Um, I became an advocate for just like technology, just getting us into technology as a whole. And when I say us, I mean our community and just anyone who needs some sort of like push to do anything, right? Then from there, last year, roughly like around October, my friend, at that same time, I was looking into Forex trading to like find different ways to make like supplement my income. And I started conversing with one of my friends who's actually the co-founder of Howard University Blockchain Labs about the Forex trading. And he introduced me to cryptocurrency. And at that time, they were heavily invested in terms of cryptocurrency investing, like just trading and like just flipping Bitcoin and Ethereum. And based on that conversation, I was like, okay, how can I do cryptocurrency investing? And he told me download Coinbase, buy some Ethereum, and yeah, figure it out from there. So that is what I did.
Wow. So yours
I
is a little different. Yours is just like very smooth and quite seamless and almost like,
indeed.
any university experience that you go around and start meeting with people and going to different activities and someone's like, hey, this is going
Mm-hmm.
over here. Where the rest of us are like, wait, this has been going on? What is going on? I've been going about my everyday life and I don't know what's going on. But tell me specifically
Indeed.
about seamless money. What is the problem that exists for those people who are watching who are not of Caribbean ancestry?
Mm-hmm.
Describe what the climate is like today in terms of transferring money back and forth between the West of the United States or in between Caribbean islands, and then get into how seamless money is designed to resolve that issue.
Cool. So I like to share Seamless Money in terms of how I came about it based on my personal story. Like I said, I only came to the US in August 2015, and my whole family, specifically my financial sponsors, were based in Trinidad and Tobago. So in the whole process of like considering coming to school in the US, we had to like find the best way for me to get access to money from my parents, specifically to pay for tuition fees and my personal expenses. So like I took it upon myself to do a bunch of research in terms of like, okay, what is the cheapest and fastest and easiest way for me and my parents for me to get that money? And through my research, like I came across traditional stuff like Western Union, MoneyGram. And I'm sure if you're not familiar, these entities basically require the person who wants to send to go stand up in a really long line, wake up really early in the morning, go stand up in a line, hope for the best that they actually have US dollars still present, because they oftentimes, when you, after standing in the line for like 1 hour, when you get to the front, the Western Union person might be, I'm sorry, that's all the US left for the day, right? And you have to come back another day. So those were the traditional methods. And then I came across offering from my local bank, Republic Bank, where they had a prepaid US Visa card system where we can potentially deposit local currency in our account and then transfer that local currency onto the prepaid card to get access to US dollars where we can use online or like to just withdraw at the ATM. So that was the best method that I identified, and that was the method we were going with for me to get money from my parents in school. So that worked fine in the sense that we did our large deposits on the account. I did the transactions required. And then throughout, like every month when I need my personal allowance to pay for like groceries and so forth, my parents will go in to the bank and deposit it and then like call me or text me saying, hey, I deposited the money and go do your transaction and so forth. When they do that, I will then like once they tell me that, I will log into my online banking and like do the transaction, then go find the nearest ATM, pay like $3 to withdraw the $3, well, a range of $3 to $5 depending on the ATM I find, to withdraw the money from the US prepaid card and then redeposit it on my US bank account, which was Bank of America, before I can actually use the card or like start spending or paying for my purposes. Um, well, that was fine. And while that was occurring, I was simultaneously exposed to like the US system of like spending money back and forth, where you can easily like use Venmo, Zelle, PayPal, stuff that way you don't even have to think about leaving your bed,
Yeah,
right?
I think that
And
most Americans have no concept, considering that
hmm
they use PayPal so much, they use Venmo, they use Stripe. I
yeah,
remember one time I was considering doing some web development for someone in Trinidad, and I looked and I couldn't believe that if you look at
there's no
who
payment
PayPal
API.
services, there's a complete blackout on the Caribbean. There's like, Jamaica
Literally.
maybe, and then that's it. It's as if no one else exists. And then it
Indeed.
completely locks out the small business transactor in terms of having global access. Um,
Yes, and that's the key. So like just being exposed to the actual nicely seamless way of money that can be flowed in the US and then having to go through these different channels. And then further on the bank even placed a further limitation where they limited us to like 100 USD per day, 1,000 a month. So in the sense that when you have to pay a 38,000 tuition bill, that is impossible to go through this channel, right? So like when that occurred, I ended up spending like 6 days, like every morning I'll wake up and transact like 100 a day. And then when I get like, let's say up to the 600 mark that my parents send, I will then have to go to the ATM and withdraw it then. And that whole process, and it's the same process that I use today when I do need money from home or so. And that was just burdensome. So I was like, hey, we need some form of like Cash App, some form of Venmo, some form of PayPal that enables us to be able to send bank to bank, mobile to mobile from the Caribbean to the US and back and forth, or even internally into the Caribbean itself. Because even back home right now, we don't have that type of like, hey, my friends and I go to dinner. There's no way for us to like transact a splitting of the bill digitally, only via cash. And usually someone takes an L also, right?
yes.
So that
I'm sorry,
exactly.
I didn't go to the ATM. I only have a 50. I don't want to break it. I was supposed to pay for something else. Yeah, whatever.
Exactly. So that's basically synopsis of the climate. We literally don't have an entry to the digital economy in terms of our banking infrastructure. In the US and other developed countries, like the as soon as you open a bank account, you have access to Visa or MasterCard that enables you to shop online, to do whatever you need. In Trinidad, we don't even get a Visa or MasterCard. As a typical bank account holder has like a local Trinidad-based Visa account. It's not Visa, it's their variants, which is links. And they could only use that card at like a specialized terminal or point of sale system or ATM. So the average person don't have a credit card to even shop online, far less send money to each other.
Yeah, this is not
So
unique
that's
to Trinidad and Tobago. I know I'd heard
mm-hmm,
just through discussions with a banker one time in Trinidad, saying that even just if there's a business person in Trinidad trying to do something with a business person in Jamaica, there's an issue of having going to a
Exactly.
centralized bank in the same situation with fees and things costing
And then
more and
access to
less and
currency.
wasn't
Exactly.
cents. That sort of thing is impacting intra-Caribbean as well as every Caribbean island having its own dynamic about whether what can happen intra that nation or within that nation as well. So talk about seamless money. What does it work? How does it work? What does it do?
hmm So seamless money, the whole based off of that pain point, as well as just the whole financial space currently, the services that are being offered, like a lot locally on the ground, a lot of people is like totally dissatisfied and distrust the banking system currently because of like unnecessary fees. For instance, they have some average person will have to pay to actually get access to online banking, so forth. Stuff like that. So that whole negative climate, in addition to the pain points we were facing, led us to develop Seamless Money, which is basically a company whose whole mission is to remove all these limitations in the foreign exchange space, the peer-to-peer, peer-to-merchant, merchant-to-merchant, money transfer space, as well as digital banking services in the Caribbean region specifically. Our target users could be anyone based in any of our countries in the Caribbean who wants to like just send money to their friends at home, or even just like send money to someone in the US who don't even have like a local bank account, and either for personal or business reasons. Where we are currently are is that we are currently going through like intense research and development, in the sense that when I initially had the idea to create a cash app for the Caribbean, I envisioned me just creating a mobile application, pulling in the Stripe payment API, pulling in the equivalent for the Caribbean, and so forth, and that was it. And you need to understand that in the space, we have to like build everything from scratch. We have to build the infrastructure. We have to build the entire ecosystem because, like you mentioned, there is no payment API for the Caribbean right now
Yeah.
per se. Yeah, like in the US, we could easily jump to Stripe, we could jump to PayPal and so forth. There isn't that sort of like easily integrated like technical solution at the moment for us to build like that type of digital economy that we want to. So we are doing like intensive research development that is basically highlighting to us that it's not even a tech problem anymore. It comes along the lines of economics, finance, like just traditional money transfer, and like just absorbing all that information, combining it, and then encapsulating blockchain technology, existing fintech solutions, stuff that will advance our nation into the future.
Yes, one of the things
Yeah.
that we had discussed years ago. So, full disclosure, the idea of what you were implementing was something that some friends and I were talking about like 2 years ago. That's how necessary it
Mm-hmm.
was because
It is,
we
and it
had
still
we
is
had
today,
people
right?
here. One of my former colleagues who's up in Canada has some business owners that are in Jamaica and they were tired of getting, for legitimate business transactions, tired of getting it frozen. So they're
Yeah.
definitely going to be tuning in to figure out what can be done so they can
Mm-hmm.
abroad and then still be able to facilitate some of the businesses they own in the Caribbean. So
Exactly.
I think people are surprised at, even the antiquated systems that impact smaller banks that are in the Caribbean. They're not up
Mm-hmm.
to handle even before
Indeed.
blockchain. They weren't up to par to handle what was being done, and that's the reason.
Web 2.0.
Right, exactly. That's the reason why they were never able to overcome what was implemented by the central banks, which are
Mm-hmm.
basically Europe, United States, Canada, controlled entities and taking cut of everything.
Exactly.
So
Mm-hmm.
there's a whole overhaul. It's not something that has to be easily implemented. So right now I see that you're raising funds to go to Israel. I mean, what is the plan there? Is there a conference? What's going on?
Yes. So in Israel, there's it's TavTech Fellowship. That is just an entire 30-day coding entrepreneurship startup bootcamp or fellowship, you may, where they basically connect you with the ecosystem on the ground in Israel and vice versa. And it will be just an exchange of like culture, exchange of like ideas, exchange of talent, and just like a space where you can grow further and like just be exposed to the global ecosystem. Yeah. Yeah,
So
pretty much.
what's next on tap for Seamless Money? Are you you're still looking to build your team, or you still looking to raise capital? What
Yes.
are some of the points that people can, if they want to reach out to you, what they can help you with?
So between now and March, we are solely focused on executing our product. So like taking our research, our insights and our solution that we have formalized and like building a tech facing product for it, as well as building the back end in terms of all the connectors we need. Um, Post March, we'll be having a blockchain conference in Trinidad where we will be using that sort of our like launch, unofficial launch. And then from there, we are intending to raise 10 million fundraise in the global ecosystem of accredited and unaccredited investors. So if you're interested in taking part in the Seamless Money movement, that would be a great opportunity. It will be a securities token sale, and we have like sort of like formulated a model where we incorporate all of our diaspora, all of our players, all the people that this project impacts to be like key stakeholders in the company in driving the vision and driving our entire success. Because if we win, everyone wins, and vice versa. So for instance, like our company is structured in such a way that it's all about advancing the economies, advancing the space of the Caribbean, right? We are started with finance, but it leads towards education, tech, innovation, just creating the human capital necessary to support such a development space. You know, so that's somewhat what's next for Seamless Money. And if you want to, we are also building our team out along the lines of compliance, economics, finance, um, general counsel in the US and the Caribbean. So if you are interested in something along those lines, feel free to reach out to me as well. And yeah,
So
stay tuned.
what tell me about what's coming up in Trinidad in March. What is the conference and the details? Because
So we are
I'm coming just now. I'm coming eventually. Eventually.
yeah, you come in. And Carnival is a good time to come. Um, so it's a post-Carnival blockchain conference, and the whole idea is to bring I have a symposium in Trinidad in collaboration with CARICOM, among other players in the Caribbean space, as well as in the global space around like fintech, blockchain, culture, innovation, and like just ideating over issues that we currently face as a nation, as a people, as a whole, and then figuring out like a strategy to implement or mitigate or like just solve us our issues. Yeah.
What are the date?
Of what I don't have the date right now, but the website is sokasatoshi.com.
Okay.
That's
Soka Satoshi.
SOCA. Yes.
Let's
Yes.
write that down now. Soka
Mm-hmm.
Satoshi.com.
.com. Yes.
All right, we'll write that so people can check the link. So what's the best
Mm-hmm.
way that people can contact you?
Definitely via email. My email is whitney@seamless.money. And you can also follow us on social media. We are present at Seamless Money on all social media. My personal social media is Impact Wit. I will type that in the comments as well. Yeah. Money. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So we're glad to have you. Definitely keep us abreast. I know that you are going to head out to class in not too long of a time. So I didn't want to hold you as long, but any final words, any parting words that you think people should be aware of in terms of your venture?
Just look out for us. Like we all about execution, we all about driving innovation, and we are mostly about impact. And our vision is just to create an entire Caribbean region united via technology, united via impact, united via growth, where our region could be advanced into the future to surpass those those current developed countries that we currently look up to. Like we can beat them and even better, and it just needs a collaborative effort across the board.
Yeah. Now, how have you been following the donations and everything that are coming as a result of the flooding that's happened in Trinidad and Tobago? Have they had any financial things, or people just kind of using other mechanisms to bring resources into the country?
So I'm not following it on a global scale, but in the DMV area that I am currently in, I'm a part of a couple organizations who are working on different efforts. So a lot of the problems we are facing right now is how do we send money home? One of my think tank cohorts, they're raising via cryptocurrency and they intend to like send cryptocurrency back to the country for, but then there's even an issue of like how do they spend the cryptocurrency? So more than likely they have to figure out how to fly down and get them the ability to spend the cryptocurrency. Others are going the route of like actually just sending like physical donations
Mhm.
because more than likely that's the most easy to like distribute as well as to ensure that people get access to stuff. So that's one way you can look into. Yeah, and that's pretty much
All
it.
right, and
A
we
lot.
would definitely also want to recognize your co-founder. What is his name again? And his
Mm-hmm.
family is from where?
Cesa Salaam, his family is from Haiti, so he brought the perspective.
Sakpake, Sakpake.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's definitely an
Yes,
international flair, and Whitney and I met at
exactly.
Black Blockchain Summit, and we cannot omit who I tagged on this, Mr. Joel Braithwaite, Joel Andre on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
who is working on a lot of cryptocurrency or blockchain legal strategies in terms of getting a lot of
Mm-hmm.
the ventures out there. Thank him for that introduction as he like grabbed me and was like, "Hey, you need to meet her." So I hope we can catch
Yes.
up and recuperate from that conference and begin the live streams again before I actually send you an invite. But definitely, we're going to be looking out for you. I mean, I was telling my husband the other day, I was like, see what she was doing, and you thought I was crazy when I was talking about this. And he was like, I didn't think you were crazy. I was just like not getting it and everything like that. I was like, it's finally coming to fruition. So we wish you the best of
Exactly.
luck, and we hope that people
Thank
who watch
you.
this in archive or otherwise will definitely step up to the plate and not only stand by as spectators, but actually send resources that your way so that we can realize that a homegrown person is actually doing a homegrown solution for
Solution,
the nation.
indeed.
You know, it's time to stop the idea that you know others can do better than people from within their own respective nations. Providing solutions that they're full well aware of the problems that exist. Okay, so
Yes, preach.
thank you very much, and we'll keep pushing forward, and we'll definitely keep looking out for seamless money in the future, and definitely Whitney Griffith and Cesa Salaam, and Joel too. All right, take care.
Indeed. Yes.
Bye bye.
Have a good day, everyone. Thank you for tuning in.